Hi, I'm not talking about Hillary, but this is still, I think, pretty political, because I was watching coverage of the Freddie Gray verdict, and this officer was acquitted. The first officer got off because of a hung jury, but this officer was acquitted, and I was then watching The View, and Sonny Austin, who's a prosecutor and I think a great legal mind and tends to be pretty fair, was saying, because she's friends with the mayor of Baltimore, and was saying how the mayor didn't know what the prosecutor's decision would be. And I think when this first happened, a lot of the people, at least the people in the Black Lives Matter movement and just allies of ending police brutality in general, were really on the prosecutor's side. And it's like, looking back, Sonny Austin was saying she's never seen someone decide to prosecute this many individuals so quickly. I think it took her 2 months or less. And, there's a lot that goes into building up cases and evidence and things like that to actually decide to prosecute someone. And so I think a lot of the time, activists or regular people, we want what we want when we want it. And we don't really understand the legal aspects behind things. And it kind of makes me think, was this the best thing to do? Um, did they really have the best case? Did they know what they were doing? I don't know. I think this was always going to be a tough case because we barely, almost never, I should say, prosecute cops for doing horrible things. I mean, shooting people many, many times and beating them and things like that. But we as a society tend to look at actions rather than inaction. And I think a lot of this case was about the inaction of officers. And that's harder to see. That's harder to prove, that someone should go to jail because of inaction. And I just personally, legally, always thought it was going to be a hard case. But hearing Sonny Austin speak about it from a legal point of view, did the prosecutor make the right decision? Was she persuaded by the protest? And I think some people are like, yeah, the protests are working, and that's great, but at the end of the day, you have to have a legal system, and you have to try to do things objectively. And even Sunny was like, look, she can't say whether she made the decision to prosecute the way she did and when she did it because of political pressure. But that shouldn't be the reason. And look what's happening now. And this is not to say it's just the prosecutor's fault that no one has been convicted yet. But you can't really be persuaded by outside factors because they're not going to be the ones in the courtroom. They're not going to be the ones making the decision. So you have to have ample evidence, especially in officer cases, because we know that officers are put on a pedestal. We know that people just seem to inherently think that they are acting in good faith, and if they do something terrible, then they must have had a reason for it. And I don't agree. I think cops should be on the same level as everyone else, and if, you know, you or I did some of the things that they did, we would be in jail for life. We would not have gotten a bond. There would not be controversy. Like, we would be gone. Bye bye. End of story. But you know how we're programmed. You know that it's not going to change for a long time. You have to have just a lot of evidence. And even then, as we saw with the Carrick trial in my home city of Charlotte, that's not always what it takes to get a conviction either. So I guess my thoughts are, did the prosecutor do it the right way? Did she move too quickly? Did she charge too many people? Were the charges fair? I don't know. I just think that it's a really tough situation and it's totally unfair. And if you look at what happened to Freddie Gray, someone has to be punished. I don't know if they will. Um, it's almost, you almost think, did she charge too many people? Did she rush it along? I don't know. I'm just curious to see and hear what other people think. So let me know. But full disclaimer, I do want justice for Freddie Gray. I think this was terrible. Um, he was definitely not treated properly, but from a legal aspect, were things done the right way?